Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Thank you for joining us. My name is Vanessa. On behalf of Cerenade, I want to welcome you to this live webinar of eIMMIGRATION. Today, we're going to talk about how to easily create your own intake forms. Excuse me, I've been sick, so my voice sounds probably not as pleasant as I wished. Anyway, so this is being recorded, and you can ask me questions. There's a chat. I'm also using my PowerPoint presentation that I encourage you to download if you click on handouts. That way you can click on the links to learn more later or share with your team. All right, so let's get started. I want to show you how easily it is to create your own intake forms. I always want to ask the question, like, how many of you still use like a Word document or a PDF to send to your clients and have them type data into those documents and send it back, and then you have to retype the same information. So it's a waste of time. And I encourage you to please at least try creating your own intake form. You'll see the benefit. It's going to save you so much time. All right, so let's get started. I want to show you the difference between client case profile. For some of you, it might seem like very clear, but we do have new clients that are joining us today. So that's why I want to make sure that they understand the difference, because it really matters. When you create a questionnaire, you need to know where exactly are you pulling the data from, or where you're storing the data into, right? All right, so let me search an existing client to show you the difference. Let me close this pop-up window. Okay, I feel like I'm forgetting something. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Let me make sure that you guys can hear me fine. I am going to send a poll. I'm launching a poll in progress. So if you can click to vote, I want to make sure that you guys can see my screen. All right, so just for those who are joining, we have a poll in progress so that you can vote and participate. I'm just waiting for the rest of the participants to participate. So far, we've got 50-50. Let's see. Thank you for joining. We're participating in a survey or poll. If you can please click on your screen. All right, I've got more than 50% of the votes. So let me just close and share. It looks like 50% say I enter the data directly into the profile. So no one answered that you guys want to use the alternate view. That's interesting. Okay. Anyway, so let's continue. I'm showing, let me see. I should be showing my screen. Okay, yes. So I'm showing an example of a contact profile. And it's important that you understand the system, like kind of like I don't know, like a GPS. The way I see it is this, like where I am exactly in the system. I went from home, I'm in the client section, and I'm looking at the general info. It's important that you understand this portion, because when you're creating your questionnaire and you need to map or connect fields, well, it's going to ask you, where do you want to map this question to? And if you don't know, then it's going to be more complicated. So I like to show this so that you can use it as a reference to know, well, I'm in the client or contact profile, I'm looking at the general info section, and I want to map the first name, or I want to map the last name, or these are system fields, of course, that we have already created, okay? And if I move to a different section, for example, addresses, it's going to change that. So again, that's another way for you to identify where in the system or what section you're looking at. If I take you to a case or an actual matter or process, excuse me, you're gonna see now that it says that from home, I went to the case window, I'm looking at the general info, or if I switch to a different section, it's going to update this. So it's the breadcrumbs, like you find your way back by using this. Anyway, so you can tell the difference because I see case number versus when I look at the client or contact, it's just the name. Okay, so I hope that that helps. Also understand that we have a menu on the sidebar where you can see like, I don't know, like logs or reminders and documents. And then you see the same thing when you go to the case window. If you look at the case window, you also have logs, reminders, documents, and general info. But of course, it's a different look and feel. Okay, so I hope that's helpful. Let's go back to the administrator. Now, how do I get here? How do you get to the admin? Well, you need to click on the top right corner where it says settings and then it says administrative tools. I like to right click and open in a new tab. So now I have both. Actually, it's a must. Another thing I recommend if you don't have it is buy a second monitor. It really, really makes a difference. If I could have like three or four, so yeah, I can multitask, right? But having two monitors, two screens, it's super helpful because you can switch, drag and drop. You can look at both, especially if you have a questionnaire that you want to create that you already have in Word. Open it in one of your monitors or maybe your cell phone if you don't have a second monitor, and then you can see from one screen to the other. Ideally, the reason why I suggest that you get another monitor is so that you can drag and drop, copy paste from one to the other. Okay. All right. So I talked about fields. Let's go back to this section. These fields, the way I've learned it is like a container. Sorry if I play. I mean, I'm trying to simplify it as much as I can, so that it's easy to understand. Okay. A custom field, something that you create so that you can enter data. Imagine again, you are adding an additional bucket and where you can dump additional data. That's pretty much the way I see it. Where if I send a questionnaire and the client answers a question, where am I going to store that answer? Okay, so how do you create a custom field? All right, let's go back to the administrator portal and you're going to click on client custom fields. Now, if you notice, we also have case custom fields. And yes, if you go to a case window under custom fields, you have maybe specific fields that are related to the case or the process, like a judge or court listing, eligibility, I don't know, investment amount, etc. So these are custom fields created at the case level. The reason why I'm telling you to create client custom fields, not case, it's because you cannot include case custom fields in a questionnaire. You're not going to be able to map them. So make sure that if you want to use these custom fields in a questionnaire, make sure that they are under this section, client custom fields. Okay. All right. So how do you create a custom field? You're going to click add a client custom field, select what type of client, and the name, it's more technical. That's why you're going to have spaces, but you can do underscore. Something like this. Last underscore arrival underscore date. Or you can just do all the words together, whatever works for you. But you cannot have a space. And then the title would be the actual question. When did you last arrive in the US? Oh my God, I'm surprised that I was able to type with no typos today. All right, and then the type of field, well, of course, is a date. It could be a text, a number. Text is more limited, more like a name. I don't know, like just limited. If you want them to type an explanation, like a paragraph, then select text area. If you want to capture just numbers, then of course numbers. But beware, and this is important for you to understand. Trust me, because I've created custom intake forms and I've learned the hard way. You have to match, if you create a custom intake form and you say, I don't know, passport number or alien number, it has to be the same field, the same type of field that you chose in your questionnaire. For example, if I chose text, I cannot use number here. It has to match. Okay. Boolean is a little square that you can click on, like these are Boolean types. So you can do that too. Obviously, a drop-down list is where you just add options, click add, and keep adding the options. And again, you can choose from that. And like I said, text area. So just click save, and that's how you create the field. Give me 1 second because I have questions. How many characters per type? You know what? I don't know. And I rather tell you I don't know because I don't have that. But you can always ask our team if you go to technical support, just send us a message from here and they can confirm with you what's the limit if I do text versus text area. I know there's a limit, but I don't know. And later today, I'm going to send them a message. And if I get the answer, I'll get back to you right now. Okay. Let me see. Someone raised a hand. Was it you? Yes. Okay, so if you have questions, message me. You can chat me, okay? And don't forget to download my PowerPoint presentation because you can click on these links and learn this or review this later, okay? All right, so let's continue. Again, if you're raising your hand or if you want to chat me, you can do that. Next, now you know how to create your custom fields. Next, in my opinion, if you have the chance, organize them by categories and by views. Like, let me show you an example. I'm going to go into a client profile. I'm going to click on custom fields. And this is a category. This is a category. Permanent resident card info. It's a category. And this is a field. When did you become a legal lawful permanent resident? Or what's your green card number? So those are custom fields. This is another category, TPS. Well, I can group these two categories or these categories within a view, which is my immigration clients only view. So you can have different views, like my marketing view has different sections like technology, best way to contact, how did you hear about us, etc. Okay, I hope this helps so that you can keep everything organized. I see that someone's raising a hand. So do me a favor, since I can't unmute you, send me another chat. Send me a question. Okay, now I want to show you how to map your custom fields to forms if needed. For example, the question on, let me open a form, the DS260, okay? There's a question on the DS260 or the DS160 that says, what's your full name in native alphabet? Actually, I have Valeria simple transferring. Let me give me 1 second. So you guys can see that it transfers a Unicode as well. Okay, see how this field is kind of like purple-ish? Not like this is white, but when I click on it, it turns green. But what I'm referring to is this field that it's purple. And the reason why it looks like that is because I connected my custom field, which is, where is she? Okay, I'm opening a profile so I can show you her profile. All right, so we talked about these are the system fields and these are custom fields. Well, I created this custom field, what's your full name in native alphabet, and I connected, or it's called map, I mapped my custom field to the actual DS260 so that when I open the form, it transfers a value. I'm going to show you how to do that. And remember to breathe. Remember this is being recorded. Remember you have technical support included because it's not going to be easy the first time. Like anything, you know, you have to practice, try, play with it, and then go from there. And if you have questions, like I said, let us know. All right, so how do you connect or map a custom field to a form? You're going to click on File, Form Custom Data Population. If you're taking notes, write down the words form custom data population. But ideally, just download my PowerPoint because I put the link there anyways. Okay, this form custom data population allows me to customize a form and connect those fields. Of course, if there's a newer version available, you have to redo your mapping, okay, like these forms. I'm going to use the DS260 as the example I was showing earlier. See how it's red? Let me delete this so that I can do it again for you. Okay, let me go back one more step. I went to, this is the admin. I went to the admin portal. Excuse me. I went to File, Custom, sorry, Form Custom Data Population. And then you need to add the form that you want to customize. And in my case, I already have this one here. Let me open it. Once you open, locate the field that you want to customize. This is it. I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to click on this icon. And then I'm going to select which field are you connecting this to what custom field? It's not a case, it's a client custom field. And the type of field is this one, my full name native alphabet. This is exactly why I recommended that you create them very clearly so you identify them, and it's a lot easier to link rather than doing this number formatting. Okay, so be super clear when you create your custom fields. Now, what's a region? Well, technically it's the alien, and then I'll just click OK. And it's going to appear red. There's no save button, just close it. And I don't know why, but that's just the way it works. And now, if I open a form, well, you saw it transfers the data and it's going to be purplish. Okay. All right. So that's how you can map fields to forms. Now I'm going to show you how to create your intake forms step by step. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me see if there are any questions at this point. Before I show you, I want to know how many of you have created your own custom intake forms. I'm waiting for the rest of the participants to vote. Well, it's interesting. I thought maybe some of you have created. Okay, so all of you have never created a custom intake form. There's a question and it says on mapping in a select region, can more than one be selected? No, that could create a conflict because then you're telling the system, I want this and this. And so no, it's only one region. But thank you for asking. Let me, before I forget, let me message our team regarding your other question about if there's a character limit. I mean, there is, but how many? Give me 1 second. Okay. Sorry about that. All right, so let's continue. We're gonna go over the steps on how to create your intake forms now. If you have questions, please bear with me. I'm gonna finish the process and then take all your questions, okay? Because I don't want to confuse people. It is easy to do, but at the beginning it might be confusing. So I want to make sure that I do my best job explaining. So you have to go into the admin. You need to click here, custom form templates, and you're gonna click on intake forms. Don't click on questionnaires, just intake forms. If you ever need our developers to create a questionnaire for you, that's a custom questionnaire that they can. Technically, you're not going to click on forms or questionnaires or invoices. That's for our team to access. We have questionnaires in the system already. that I suggest you use called system intake forms instead of starting from scratch. Why reinvent the wheel if we have already questionnaires that you guys can use? I always recommend going from system intake forms and use what we have and then tweak it and change it. For example, we have this general info for individual client questionnaire. Well, if I click select copy, and you can preview, but if I make a copy, and I don't want to call it general info for individual client, I'm just going to call it intake form or initial intake form. And I want to change the name here. So I can change that initial intake or welcome, or of course you can change the way that this looks. If you click here, it's to save. Beware, because I by accident one time deleted, and it doesn't give you a warning. It's gone, and it happens so fast. So if that happens to you, unfortunately you have to go back and click on header and then add it again. But look what happened when I clicked on header on the left. It adds that all the way at the bottom. So I can change the number, say number 1 instead of 58, and then add it again. Initial intake form. I want that center and small, and save it. And it goes all the way up because I picked number 1. If I want to preview, I click here and then I see how this is looking. So close it. I want to add my logo. By the way, if you don't have your logo, let me show you how to do that. If you're new, you have to go into your admin, click on application settings, and click on branding. That's where you can add your logo, and it has to be 300 by 70 pixels GIF format only. Okay? Anyways, little segue. So if I want the logo in this questionnaire, I go to options and then I add the logo. I can even number my questions. So now let's preview. Here it is. Okay, let's continue. I want to change some of these questions. I want to delete. Again, now you know, you click on the X to delete. And there's no, are you sure? It's gone. Which is actually good because it's faster. I want to maybe fix this and move my client's email address up so I can drag and drop it here. Or I can also click on the pencil and change the number, say number 3, for example. And I'm going to modify that and save it. So now I move my client's email address field here. And again, you can always drag and drop, or you can always click on the pencil on the right and change the number to pick a different number, a different position. I don't know if you noticed, but when I click on this icon to edit, there's a drop-down menu. We do have fields or sections already mapped. Technically, if I want to ask for income or height or an email address or phone, so it's a lot easier. I think I got a response. Custom fields. Sorry about that. I'm chatting with the dev team so I can get the answer you're asking for. All right, so like I said, depending on the type of question, you're going to choose obviously the type of field. I'm asking for email address and then save it. On the left, we have questions. I can add a question. Let's say I want to ask a yes and no question or a multiple choice, single choice list. Be careful with this. It's not random. You really have to think like, what am I asking for? If, for example, if I say list, what type of list? Am I asking for a countries list or relationships, like, department, languages that you can choose from this drop-down menu list that we have, okay? Or let me remove this. I'm asking for a single choice, and I really like the fact that you can do all of the options. For example, radio, TV, referral, social media, I don't know. And then I'll just click add multiple. So it's a lot easier if you want multiple choice oh, well, technically this is a single choice, and my question would be, how did you hear about us? I don't know, and they can just pick. So the other thing is that if you, let's say, okay, a yes or no. Again, I don't want this all the way at the bottom. I want to move this to number 2, maybe. And my question is going to be, how did you hear, or is this the first time you are here? And I want to know if this lead is new or this contact is new. And if they choose yes, and my follow-up question would be, again, how did you hear about this law firm or organization? And if they say no, my follow-up question would be, okay, well then what's your case number? And then I click save. Again, I picked number 2. So if I scroll all the way up, it's going to be right here. Okay, now you know you can drag and drop. You can edit the information, change the look and feel, delete questions or instruct, or whatever you want to do. Delete, add, edit. Okay, so that's on the left where you can just add by clicking, deleting, or rearranging. So that's pretty simple. Then templates. So here's where you can add, for example, I'm going to ask my client for their father's information or mother's information or spouse's info, but I want to ask every single thing. I want to show a small header, center or left, and I want to maybe, just basic info, please. Or what I can do is unselect and choose exactly what I want to ask them. For the father's information, I just care for the first, middle, last name, maybe the gender and the date or the city and state, country of birth. But that's it. He's not my client. I don't care for their, alien number or household size, or why should I ask for that if it's not necessary? So I just add the father's information section. That's just basic info, please. Okay. Same thing for the mother, same thing for the spouse. If I go to repeated sections, I can, and by the way, look at the questionnaire that you're copying from. For example, I've learned that I already have this repeated section for other names that she has ever used. So I don't need to add it again. I'm just going to skip that one and maybe include, hey, where have you lived in the last 5 years? Again, I can modify these previous addresses and say only the last 5 years, please. And I can ask specific information that I need. Okay. Same thing again, just click and add. You can modify, click and add. Children information. I'm going to ask them for them to provide their children info. I can specify only if they are 18 years and younger, or like you can customize this instructions, remember. And then, of course, I want to know if it's a daughter, son, stepson, the name. But here's where you can start customizing. I don't care for their maiden name, title, preferred name, status. Just give me the gender, where they were born. I don't care for their phone number, etc. Okay, so you can just pick and choose whatever fields you want. Maybe I do want their social security number, citizenship, alien, not household size, education degree, none of that. The non-immigrant status, yes, if they have a USCIS account number. I don't know, but you can add or remove stuff. Let me see if I'm forgetting. Okay, next, well, client members, if applicable, meaning I need their, I don't know, like siblings, for example, or a joint sponsor, or right, any affiliations or rest history, and that's it. Next, I'm going to make it pretty by adding maybe lines or vertical spaces, a header or a description. And at the end of the questionnaire, I'm going to add a submit button. Now, we also have, I think under questions, this is new. You can add a signature so they can sign electronically, but make sure that that's the last thing that you add to a questionnaire, or technically a contract or agreement, right? If you want to use our intake forms for that, just create the questionnaire. Well, sorry, I keep saying questionnaire, but it's going to be an agreement where you just add a text and maybe have them type their name and whatever details you need. And at the end or the bottom, you just add the signature. Okay, I'm not going to add it for this exercise, but make sure that if you do use this, it's the last thing that you add. All right, let me see if we have any questions at this point. Can you add a question to a repeated section like date of entry for a spouse or child? Then do you need to map it? You know what? Great question. Um, the repeated sections, if I wanted to add a question within, it's not going to be mapped. You can show it, but we can't map it. I really wish I was a developer so I can fix it and or not fix it, but like enhance it. I'll pass your feedback to our team. It would be great if we can have the ability for modifying repeated sections and say whenever they do add an arrest history, I want to also know this or a previous address. Or what was your question? Like a date of entry for a child? Yes, exactly. For example, the father's information that I added. Let me show you when I get to mapping. It's going to make more sense so that you understand why it's not doable. Yes, you can add an additional question. Like I said, repeated section, for example, marriage history. I can say, okay, well, this is 79. Let me add a text question. I'm going to put it 78. And my question is going to be, why did you divorce? Or I don't know. So you can, uh, a text area, and I'm going to save it. So now if I scroll all the way up, my repeated sections here and my question of why the text area is here. It's part of the repeated section because again, I put 78. But when I get to map it, let's see, when I need to connect it, let's scroll down. So this is good to know the number because it's a lot easier for you to find it here. See how it says marriage history, and I don't have an additional space to link it to. I would have to move it away from the repeated section because I can't, you can't create a custom field within the marriage history. And so that's why you would have to move this text area after the repeated section and create a custom field for you to link it to and keep the explanation or whatever you were asking for. I hope that makes sense. Um, Let me remove that. See, what I would do is, okay, what's my repeated section? All right, 90, 92. So I'll just click here to edit and then move it to 92 so that it's no longer part. Let me preview it so you guys can see what I'm doing. So we have the questionnaire, abroad, address, father's information. Here's the previous address info, marriage history, and oops, I went to the employment section. So I'll just need to drag this and move it away from this. But that's pretty much what I was trying to explain. Okay, great. You're welcome. Thank you for the question. All right, so as you can see, it's not going to be just like typing a question and that's it. I asked the question, is this the first time that you're here? But now I have to connect it or map it. So let's go to mapping. Anything that you see yellow, in fact, it tells you you've got 4 unmapped fields right here. Well, it's highlighted. I don't know if you see that, but it's highlighted. Give me 1 second. Okay. So my question was, is this the first time you're here? That's definitely a custom field. We don't have a system field for that. So you have to click on Client Custom Fields and then search. I think mine was called just first time here. And then I need to click to add. That's what mapping means. I'm connecting. Remember I told you about a container, a bucket? That's pretty much redirecting the data whenever the client says, yes, this is the first time that I'm here. I want to capture that and say at the end of the month, run a report to see how many actual new clients that we help. Or next question was, okay, how did you hear about this law firm? And it's already linked or mapped to client custom fields, and I'm just gonna search for my custom field. And the last one was, okay, what's your case number? I have that one. If you notice, there's a column for required. I can make certain questions required, which means that the client can't proceed to submit the questionnaire if they don't answer these questions, okay? You can make as many required fields. But just beware, I had a client who clicked all of them, and that's fine. But if they don't have an alien number and they can't proceed, so you have to be careful. And that's another thing, like you can change the label or field. Obviously, it will connect or be mapped to the day phone, to the cell phone or evening phone area under the general info. But you can always change this, main number, or you can change that. Uh, no, just take it back. Hold on. Let me do it one more time. Day phone, not here. What I meant is over here. I'm so sorry. I'm confused because I'm not feeling well. Let me go back to this is what I was talking about. If I want to change this label, I can change it here and call it, okay, what's your main number or direct number, whatever you want to call it, but it has to be linked to the specific area. Of course, in our system, we have days, evening, phone, cell phone. So that's why. All right, next, let me see if anyone has a question. Please let me know if you have any questions. That's what we're here for. The next step is I have an error message going on. I am glad I'm recording this so I can show this to our team. I'm gonna have to refresh and go back. I wanted to show you the translation. So let me just use one of my existing questionnaires. So I'm gonna pick this one. All right, so I was creating this address history questionnaire and I want to click on translations. Let me disable and enable again. This is what I was trying to show you. Like I created a questionnaire, I mapped my fields, and I want to add translations. When you enable it and you click on the language, you have to review so that everything that you obviously typed, this is not going to translate. Please enter only the last 5 years. Ingrese solo los últimos 5 años de la dirección anterior. So like it will translate, but sometimes you may want to fix it. And then at the end, you just click submit. That's it. You just click review. At the end, you click submit. And you can click and add as many languages as needed, but you do have to review and make sure that everything looks fine. You could actually, by the way, save and continue editing if you're not done. Do it maybe after 15-20 minutes because it could happen that you forget or you're busy working on these mappings and then the time's out and you lose everything. It's annoying. So yes, that's why I'm giving you that heads up. Just save and continue, go back. Another thing that I like is the fact that I can multitask. For example, all right, so I want to create a question and I'm going to move this to number 2. My question is going to be that why text area, save it, but I don't have a field to map it to. This is why I like to have multiple tabs so I can go on a separate tab, create my custom field. I'm going to call it also why. So individual, why, but why. And a text area. It has to be the same type of field. I save it, I go back, and if I need to map it, I go to mappings, select client custom field, and then type the field, why. That's it. So sometimes you will notice like, okay, I created a question, but I forgot to create my custom field. It's okay. Just switch, create it, go back, refresh. How do you, so the thing is, if you're here, you can't map it because you have to refresh, but you don't want to refresh because you lose it. So you have to go back to fields, go back to mappings, and that's how you refresh. It's very subtle. Let me do it again. Look how it says, please wait. It's pretty quick because now my internet connection is faster than an hour ago. But that's how you refresh if you go back and forth from fields to mappings. And then whatever you created, you can find it here. Okay, see, all your custom fields are here. So it's a lot easier to just type, select. And then lastly, well, the translations, I need to review because I added this new one. ¿Por qué? So anytime that you modify or add a new question, you have to submit the translation. I suggest that you add the translation at the end because otherwise it's going to be annoying. Let me do it one more time. Let me add another text, number 3, test, save. See the translation? If I want to save my questionnaire, I can't save it until I review the translation. And that's why if you want to save, if you don't want to get a headache, my suggestion is, you know what, let me just disable the translations for now and then just do it later after, once I'm done with every single thing. Okay, because right now I could save it and close this and work on this at a later time for the mapping part of it. But again, I won't be able to save it if I have pending translations. I hope that helps. Let me see if any of you have questions at this point. Please vote. Thank you so much for voting. So all of you said, let's continue. All right, so let's continue. Well, now I know how do I create my custom intake forms, but how do I send them? How do I share this with my clients? All right, so let's do that. So if you go to a contact profile, if you click create questionnaire, you're going to send it to this person and you're going to pick either sending it via the client portal or sending a passwordless link. I'm going to choose that one and I'm going to select if the client has a preferred language. I'm going to select if I already know what type of service they need. And of course, I can choose the questionnaire by process, or all the questionnaires can show up here by, by default. If I need a preview, I can click here to preview the questionnaire. In fact, I can print it if needed. I'm going to select the questionnaire and click. I don't think I can send this one because, well, this one's also only available in English. But anyways, um, when you send a passwordless link, they have to confirm their identity for security reasons. That message will be in Spanish. How do I notify my client? If you have text message included, you can send them a text message, you could send them an email, or you may also copy the link to a clipboard and paste it in, let's say, WhatsApp. Okay, use WhatsApp web. So I'm gonna say send an email, but I need to copy and paste the link. So I need to click here, paste it in my message, and send the email. I could set up a reminder, maybe once a day, send them an email after they complete, but stop sending these emails reminders of like after a week. Honestly, if they don't get the hint after a daily email and they don't do their homework, I don't think you want that client. All right, so let's close that. And let's see what happens when the client logs in. If you give them access to the client portal, this is another way for them to complete questionnaires, not just the passwordless link, but they can also access the questionnaire from the client portal. They'll review the data you have previously entered, and they can make changes. I'm just going to change this to research found your YouTube channel. Um, let's change the date of birth and submit. By the way, tell your clients they need to print if they want a copy before they submit, because once they submit, it's gone. So now that they sent the questionnaire back to you, on your end, number one, you get an email from us. Number two, you have this indicator on the top right corner. So you're going to open, you're going to see the name of the client, the questionnaire, and the dates and who sent it. And just select and open because you need to review the changes. In fact, we highlight the changes in pink or red, and you can click and see what's the value that we have, like that. I have, actually, that's my birthday. I turned 40 this year. So you can see what's the value versus what the client changed. So you can accept the questionnaire or reject it. I will accept the questionnaire, and after you do that, it overwrites the data. Let me just select none because I don't want to relink. It's already linked. And if I go to search the client, she's going to be right here because this is a more recent updated one, and look at the date of birth. And of course, if I look at the custom fields and like, how'd you hear about us? It's going to say, find your, here it is. I research and find your YouTube channel. All right, so that's how you send and receive or accept the questionnaire in order for the data to stay in the custom field that you created. Which means that if I want to run a report and say, hey, how many clients are we getting because of our YouTube channel? Actually, I spell it, oh God, my to view channel. Okay, I have a question. It says, can I view the message that I sent with the passwordless link after I sent it? Yes, great question. If you go to logs, there's always a log created here. And so let me open it, and it's right here. We've sent you a questionnaire. Here's a link. And I love that question because you will get that client who says, no, I never got it. Yes, we sent it. Here's a timestamp. I sent it, and let me resend it to you. So yes, you can resend it so they can access a questionnaire if they forgot. Does the client need to create, oh, you're welcome. Does the client need to create an account to be able to use the questionnaires or no? No, because you can send the passwordless link with no account whatsoever. The only reason why I was showing client portal is because sometimes you may want to give them access, and then yes, you can either create their account for them or have them create their own account using the anonymous questionnaire. Okay. Great questions. Let me know if you guys have any other questions. Let's continue with the training. I want to show you, speaking of, what's the anonymous questionnaire? I love that feature, especially if I was a solo practitioner or if I had a lot of, cases. Instead of creating these profiles manually, what I would use is this feature, anonymous questionnaire. Why? Well, again, we want to save time and work more efficiently, right? So if you have a website or a social media channel, I suggest that you look into this anonymous questionnaire option. All of you have it, by the way. This is not an add-on or an additional module that you need to acquire. The anonymous questionnaire, again, you can add as many as needed. It could be based on the type of service, such as H1B for a specific client. I can say, hey, we're doing H1B for Starbucks. All of these applicants that click on this link, I want them to complete this type of questionnaire. So, or imagine if you have, again, like welcome or initial intake form, and you have all new prospects or leads who click on this, and have them complete this initial intake form. I want all these new prospects to be associated to this caseworker, and I want this link to maybe expire after a few years. I'm just going to say at the end of the 2027 year, this link is no longer available. And whenever they click on that link, if they submit via email, because you can do both email or text message, I want them to see this message. So it will create an account for them, or you can have a different message like welcome, someone will be in contact with you. So again, the way I see it, I guess maybe from a business perspective, is if I don't have the time to assist or attend to these multiple prospects or leads, at least they get this questionnaire so they can get started. Once they submit, I know that I've got a new prospect, and again, I don't have to do it manually. So again, I highly, highly recommend you guys look into anonymous questionnaires so that you can maximize your investment. Okay, you're welcome. Someone just messaged me. Thank you. Okay, next. I know we're running out of time, but we're almost done. Alternate view. Alternate view is another way of using these questionnaires that we created. Why? Because not everyone is going to be tech savvy, right? So I have a client who probably doesn't know how to write and I need a helper. Well, I can call her or she's in front of me. I can ask all these questions. How? I use the alternate view. So I create an account, I go to alternate view, and I open the questionnaire. That's it. So the alternate view is basically you completing the questionnaire on behalf of the client. That's it. So again, I see what I have already and I can make the changes. So if I need to change something, I can save it. Wait until you get this green bar on top that says form was saved successfully. Because if you change something here and you switch to a different questionnaire, you're going to lose it. It's gone. Okay? So the only time where the system gives you a warning is when you try to close from here, and it does tell you like, hey, you've got unsafe changes. Are you sure you want to close the form without saving? So you can cancel and undo. But yeah, be careful. The other thing is, let me go back. If your client needs a copy, I also like using the alternate view because then they can print, or I can print for them. They can keep a copy with the answers and they can sign, confirm this is correct. For pretty much, you can move forward to complete the forms with this data. All right, so that's the alternate view. Another thing you should know is that whenever you guys use the alternate view, there's a record. Thank God, because our developers, thank our developers for enhancing this section, because back in the day we only had access to questionnaires and forms. Now our developers added this section for alternate view. So I can see that originally this initial intake form was used in 2023 in August, and today I modify it or I update it. Okay, and you can always open and see what changes did I make to this form. All right. Okay, let me close it and let me know if you guys have any other questions. I'm going to go over the resources and support and show you some of the areas in the system that you probably didn't know about. And of course, the upcoming training classes for both May and June. Because you will have questions. That's normal. Please contact us. That's what we're here for. So you can call us Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 Pacific Standard Time, except on holidays. And you can email us 24/7. You can click on your home screen under technical support. As I said, please send your feedback to developers. Thank you. I will look at the PowerPoint and recording. I will contact the rep if I have questions. I need to prepare now for. Oh, okay. Okay, someone just left. Yeah. So, for example, earlier I sent the question to the dev team, like, what's the limit of the character. They haven't replied yet, but you can send your questions like, I have questions on like how do I map these fields, or it's any questions, please contact us. You also have a user's guide. I put the link right here in my PowerPoint, but you can also access your user's guide right here. User's guide, the training calendar, your YouTube Academy, and of course, like I said, send us a message from here. I have questions. There's something I don't like. Just let us know. Okay. We do these live trainings for free on Fridays at 10 a.m. our time in LA. You can also listen to our podcast. We have had attorneys provide very interesting topics and points of view, so you can always listen to our podcast or let us know if you want to participate. We have a Facebook forum page where you can interact with other attorneys and or users where you can learn more. And of course, I ask that you please subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you learned something new today and you want to pay it forward, that's how you can pay us back by subscribing to the channel. All right, so did you know that we have the drag and drop feature? The document folders can be customized. All these have links that you can click on to learn more about these features, like e-filing. For example, you can import data from the CBP website. Not only you can download the document assembly now, but you can add the footer page names and numbering. Anyway, so did you know? These are the upcoming training for live webinars for May and for June. So you can always click to register. I'm pretty sure you guys have these links before we update our website because I just sent them yesterday. So again, if you want to start registering, just click and learn. We're going to have new features around May and June, so you don't want to miss this overview of added features and enhancements. I highly recommend it. Now, I know some of you have to go, but before you go, I would like to know if your questions were addressed during the webinar. Thank you so much for voting. I'm waiting for the rest of the participants to vote. Probably hoping someone says not really, and I can help you still, but it looks like all of you say yes. That's awesome. All right, so if there's any other question, I can stay here for a Q&A. We still have a couple more minutes, but if you have to disconnect, I want to thank you for joining us today. I hope that you create your intake forms and start using the system more than before, and that you maximize your investment. And thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much. You too. Have a great weekend. So there was a question for, let me see if I can reopen it. A question for, if I create a questionnaire and the form is updated, will the questionnaire be updated? No, you have to go back and change the questionnaire based on the new questions from the form, or create a new custom field, or remap it to the corresponding page. Or if you have any questions, please send them to me. If you have to disconnect, again, thank you for joining and have a great weekend. So I'm reading a question that says, can you show me one more time, please, where to find the intake forms? Sure. So go into your site. On the top right corner, you click on settings, go to administrative tools, and then click on custom form templates. That's if you want to customize your intake forms, either system or custom. If you're asking me where to find the intake forms in the actual caseworker portal, where do I send them from, or where do I access the questionnaire? That's a different area. If you already create, like if you created the questionnaire, right, from the admin, and now you want to access those, then you click on the client profile and you either create the questionnaire and send it to them or print it, or you could also use the alternate view and the questionnaires will be here as well. So it depends on what you want to do. So if you want to be more specific with your question, let me know. Did you mean like where to find the intake forms in the admin to customize them? Or did you mean like where to find them in the system to send them? Okay, you typed, I meant on the admin portal, you answered my question. Okay, great, you're welcome. So I'm reading questions from when you guys registered, but technically they were not questions, they were more like, you know, I want to learn everything, or how the data transfers and updates form. So that's basically the answer. And the only question that I see here is like, can I create an 18 forms without having to redo them every time that USCIS updates a form? Unfortunately, no, because you would have to remap the, let me see if this person's still here. Um, yeah, you would have to remap them. No, she's not here. Anyway, so remember to please download my PowerPoint presentation so that you can click on the links. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel on YouTube. It's called Cerenade Academy. Just click subscribe, and this is where we will upload today's video. And all of the videos are here. So make sure that you subscribe to be the first to know when we have new features. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend. Bye bye.